And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
All right, here we go. We are live in the beautiful Colorado Rockies of Denver. This is the Snake Sports Talk Show, wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Roku, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts and wherever you may be streaming us. NFL Prime Predictions Week 5. We are getting geared up for that. Super excited about it. And postseason baseball, the division series is set. And I have my top 10 MLB teams going into the division series. I wish I could have honestly have done it when the wild card, but the only difference of it is that the wild card to me feels a lot like a kind of a play-in type of tournament feel, in my opinion. That's just my opinion on it. So now that we've got the division series set, it's going to be a lot better come, where we are. But there are some teams that are humming. They are humming. And I am excited to break it down here for you guys. So, all right, let's start with this. So, what a game it was last night, wasn't it? I was absolutely pumped up, amped up. I couldn't even believe it. So, people that were writing off a bit of the Atlanta Falcons, I took the Falcons in this game. It was not because of Kirk Cousins' stellar quarterback play. It wasn't because that the wide receiving core literally cooked and they feasted. I took them because I did have a feeling that the defense would have rebounded back even after the last game that they played, and I felt like the team would have played a lot better. This is the reason why I took them. But Baker Mayfield, I will tell you, when you watch both of their quarterback play, were you not impressed on both sides of the football? Where Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins showed their stuff. But Kirk Cousins, let me just tell you something about this. We always give crap to Kirk Cousins when it comes to prime time football games, is because his record just shows for itself. It doesn't quite end up meshing up. So to me, when I look at Kirk Cousins and I saw a performance like that for over 500 passing yards, he's thrown the ball 58 times. He has 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. I mean, that was an unbelievable performance. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. And to me personally, the way that I took it was the Falcons, their offense was humming. Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, was eventually going to get this right. And it takes time for a lot of teams. You don't realize how much that this takes time. But they looked a lot better. Offense was fluent. And at the same time, Tampa Bay's young defense was, in fact, getting into some of those spots. But Tampa Bay's offense with Baker Mayfield, I felt like both quarterbacks really outplayed it. And you look at a lot of the situations, and especially with these rookie quarterbacks, when you think about some of these veterans like a Kirk Cousins or a Baker Mayfield or a Sam Darnold or a lot of them, you can't write these guys off. Baker Mayfield, we know what the situation in Cleveland was not as great. But the thing about Baker is he was, in fact, the kind of guy that eventually, when he was in a better situation and in a better structure, he was going to get this right. And same goes for Sam Darnold right now for Minnesota, because he was looking for the perfect situation as well. Geno Smith was another one, perfect situation. So when you are in the ideal situation, it's much like when I think about with job searches. When you find the right job, the right company that takes care of you, they offer you the best benefits possible that you can't even refuse. Wouldn't you want to be a part of that company long term? This is just the reason Kirk Cousins, he's in a better situation with Atlanta. Minnesota eventually was going to move off of Kirk Cousins because it felt like at times offense was a bit stagnant, yet they were still competitive. But at least last year, before the injury with Kevin O'Connell, I mean, Kirk Cousins was putting up really good numbers. This year with Zach Robinson and with Raheem Morris, this is a damn good-looking Falcons team. And I predicted them to win the division in the South. I also predicted that this could be a situation and a scenario. You're starting to understand why the Falcons situation looks a lot better than we think. They not only just signed Kirk Cousins, they then drafted Michael Penix, their future. And look at a lot of these other teams who I don't even know as far as their future is concerned. But it looked pretty shaky for the most part. And people were just kind of thinking about this whole thing with the Atlanta Falcons. It worked out just fine. And Kirk Cousins, he's here for the now, probably for next year as well. But the future is Michael Penix. But this is the kind of build that you would want for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, eventually, because next year's draft, it's very defensive. They could go get some defensive pieces. We know Grady Jarrett's up there. Matt Judon at some point, he's going to be up there. So you have a ton of options. But I felt like last night was a matinee. Okay, it was a movie premiere with both these star quarterbacks, and it worked out absolutely beautifully. It worked out perfectly to every part of this. So I was all for it. And I think for Kirk Cousins to be in the now and not think of the future is one that I think is valuable. Michael Penix is the future. But for right now, this was arguably the best looking Kirk Cousins I think I've seen in a long time. Best. On a primetime game, on a Thursday night, on a short week. Think about that. And Kirk Cousins is doing what Kirk Cousins does. Now, this time around, he looks a lot more poised. He looks a lot more focused, which has been the knock for a very long time with Kirk Cousins. But man, did we absolutely love the fact that he looked good. He looked really good. All right. Okay, so the Davante Adams stuff started brewing up. So just before the show, there was a little message that was sent. And of course, it was put on Davante Adams' story. Now, I have a little bit of a soft spot when it comes to scary movies. I really do. Okay? And even for scary stories. But there was a picture of Edgar Allan Poe, one of the best writers, best authors, the best novels that you can think of. The Raven, the old Nevermore. So that was put on. And people are thinking, is the Baltimore Ravens in contention for this? So it kind of drew a lot of people's interests. Would Davante Adams work in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson? Now, to kind of give you an idea, there are people in the NFL, people in the league, who love Lamar Jackson. He's a competitor, wins 75% of his games, and he's somebody that wants to get better every single week. And he wears a lot of games on his shoulders, mind you. It's a real thing. The thing about Lamar Jackson, and what I think is also kind of important to think about, is he is in fact the kind. And when you really think about it, is the kind that I think a lot of players would love to play with. They really would. Now, we know Lamar Jackson. We know that there had been a time where he struggles against Kansas City, but doesn't a lot of the league. Doesn't a lot of the league do anyway? But Lamar Jackson through and through. He's a fun player. He's a great player. We just know that he hasn't been able to get over that hump just yet. But my takeaway is that I think if you put him in Baltimore, now here's the problem though too. The Ravens only have $4 million in cap space. So that means that they're going to have to make a very good bargaining package deal to land someone like Davante Adams. And here's the other part though too. This would completely cut away the whole narrative that, well, the Ravens don't have a number one wide receiver. Well, that would shut all of that down because then he would have a number one receiver. He would have a rising star receiver in Zay Flowers, and he also still has Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. There are many tangibles to this. So, but I just feel like in some of these ways, and GMs will work their magic however that they will. I mean, do I feel like this could happen? I'm not sure. But I think with Davante Adams, I mean, putting a post about that, this is the thing. Stories get out there all the time because somebody wants it out there. They really do. And I think for many people's sake, is I think when it comes to Davante Adams, we know that he's been chirping a lot. And we know that watching receiver, he clearly was unhappy in Vegas with the Raiders. You guaranteed him Derek Carr, rode him out of town, and what do you give? You don't really give anything to Davante Adams, let alone the entirety of that whole Raiders organization. That's the difference. So the Raiders for years have always been kind of that organization that at times would find themselves in turmoil. I don't know why, but arguably, I think for when it comes to the Raiders, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, they have been the kind, they move off very quickly with a lot of players and coaches and GMs. And I think if you are the Raiders right now, I don't believe that this could be a destination I'd choose, in my opinion, because the money, it's short on them. I know that they'll probably finagle something, but I just don't know if this might work. We know Lamar loves his tight ends, and we also know that Lamar at times, I mean, he's got to find all of his receivers, and he can throw the ball. Don't mistake yourself on that. He can throw the ball. But sometimes you got to think about the fluidity of the offense. That's usually what this comes down to. And I think in this case, Lamar, I know for a fact, would have to throw the ball more often. So because you're trying to feed Davante Adams, you're trying to give him the ball. Think about a lot of these receivers in the league right now that are not in ideal situations, but they definitely got paid hefty. Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins left the Chiefs because he wanted to go and chase the payday. Already won a Super Bowl, but felt like he was worth it. So, to me, I don't think their situation in Miami is even ideal. That's the one for me that, because Tua goes down with an injury, you could see this writing all over the wall. I mean, it does not look good. Okay? That's my personal opinion with it, with Miami's build, because without Tua, this offense can't work properly. And so you're seeing that kind of struggle. It sucks. It's hard, but this is the reality of the NFL. You go into a position where, I mean, you have your star quarterback, but once that quarterback is down, and yet everything else, and this is the thing too, this does happen for offensive coaches as well. Let's not take that away. I mean, offensive coaches can go through spurts like this, but the question always remains, How do you recover? How do you honestly recover? So I think that's kind of where we find ourselves. So I just think with Davante Adams, there's many teams that's been buzzing. The Saints, the Jets, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens. There's multiple teams that are out there buzzing right now. And it hasn't been guaranteed yet, which is one of those things. So I think if you really want to be honest with it, I don't know, because right now the Raiders want the best deal possible. They don't want to send Davante Adams to just any team. And certainly you don't want to send him over to the division rival Kansas City Chiefs, because then that just kind of defeats its whole purpose. You know? And now you're giving the so-called villain, you know, the keys to a really nice vehicle. It's all reliant, and then there they go. They're on a tear. You don't want to do that. I'm telling you right now, you don't want to do that. So I think the Raiders are going to get the best deal possible. Because to me, I feel like if you're like Davante Adams to this kind of extent, what he's worth right now, and this is just my opinion, I'd say he's worth a second, a third, and a fifth round. If you really want me to be honest, he's 31 years old. Yes, he can produce, but age always is important to think about. Okay, he's 31. So how much more of that production do you think it will take? Honestly, how much of that will he have left in the tank? And this happens for a lot of star receivers. When they go elsewhere out of ideal situations, Green Bay, Buffalo, Kansas City, it works one of two ways. Now, the outlier, in my opinion, feels a lot like with Stephon Diggs. It's interesting. And I'm going to watch that game too, because that's one of my favorite prime prediction it's one of my favorite prime prediction games is the Bills and the Texans. That's going to be a fun one. So I'm excited about that. But I'm just telling you, I think the Raiders are going to look for the best deal possible. Like I mentioned, I mean, that is honestly my guess is what the price is worth. So to me, I mean, I could see it. I could see that writing all over the wall, and I can honestly see that happening. So I'm just, listen, I'm the one that basically, you could put this on record. I've said it. So if you want to put this up on record, you go right ahead. But I'm just saying, I think there's going to be a point where a lot of these receivers that act like divas, you're not going to want to put them in a situation where it favors them. No disrespect to wide receivers, but some of these businesses, you want to get the best outcome in your organization. Because to me, you can get another receiver. You have Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers. You can go get another one if you want to, because receivers these days are popping. So to me, I feel like in this kind of scenario and situation, you go and get the best deal possible, and you make sure that it works. Because if it doesn't, then we'll find out. We'll find out exactly who ended up winning that deal. So, all right. Prime predictions around the corner, folks. And we've been cooking. Week 4 was really good. I'm already off to a 1-0 start right now with week 5. So this right now is going to be something interesting, because I still have my dogs, but I do feel like because of the bet line, I feel like this is favorites week. There are going to be some favorites up over there I like. Now, there are stay away games that are probably not going to be in my Inferno 5 for respectable reasons. But I think there's going to be a point where you're going to watch these games, and especially a lot of these favorites. And the thing I look for the most is I'm going to be looking for a lot of those games that I'm watching quarterback play. I'm watching all this. So I'm doing a lot of my homework on it. Because I just think this is going to be a week that you're going to see the best of these teams. You are. I mean, I'm just telling you that right now. I'm laying it all on the line. There are going to be those games that are stay away games, but there's going to be some of those games too that are also going to be very exciting. So just keep in mind about it. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be entertaining, but we are getting ourselves up on a streak. All right, folks. Well, like I said, with the NFL season already underway, and it has been on fire lately, so has BetUS. BetUS has been up and on fire with their sports books. They've been doing this kind of stuff for over 30 years. BetUS guarantees you so much of fun contests, some of the best expertises and analyses in the best sports book to get you on the edge of your game, and the most fun casino entertainment for all your entertainment purposes. And not only that, but they have the best of the best account managers to make sure your accounts are managed properly so you get the best experience this whole entire NFL season. It's what we want. It's how we're feeling. So check out BetUS for yourself. I use it. Many of my network colleagues use it. And many of my closest friends also use it. It's one of the best around. And not only that, but $50 or more in your deposit. So the more you keep depositing, and especially up to 3 deposits, you'll get 125% bonuses that go up to $2,000, which means more of the fun, more of the action, more ways to get you on the edge of your game. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, and also call the local numbers in your respective states, because we don't want you to gamble recklessly. We want you to gamble responsibly and have fun while using BetUS, where the game begins.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket, and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com, and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Check out the Con Man live on the Sports Corner, coming to a screen near you, giving you the greatest stories from basketball legends you've never seen before. Sharing their glory, building the toughness, and how they show off their swag. But only one man knows all that, and that's the Con Man. Join Michael Conceição, the Con Man, at the Sports Corner, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Snake Sports Talk Show is sponsored by Muscle Tech, with hundreds of supplements and vitamins to choose from, all packed with 100% all-natural proven ingredients you can be sure that Muscle Tech will give you the edge and the boost to train and look like your fit and healthy best, whatever your goals are. Try Muscle Tech today and use promo code SNAKESPORTS to save 30% off your purchases.
Oh, yeah, baby. We are getting ready for postseason baseball. NFL Prime Prediction picks around the corner. Yeah, you better bet yourself. We are all in for this here at Sports Wave Network. My good old network with all the best people that I work with on a daily basis, giving you the best entertainment. So, speaking of, this last night was very entertaining. So, I started thinking about this, and I talked about it yesterday. So, the game I have circled, that's a lot of fun to watch, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun through and through, like all four quarters, is the Buffalo Bills against the Houston Texans. My thing about this with the Texans and with the Bills is the Texans and Stephon Diggs. There's two messages being sent here, okay? And this usually always happens when it comes to divorces and breakups, okay? If you're the kind that in one of two different scenarios, you have a breakup or you have a divorce, how are those going to end? And is there added resentment or is there a mutual understanding of both? Because on one side, when I look at the Houston Texans, and they are a great team. They're a great team. I love their coach, love C.J. Stroud, their quarterback. I love everything about it with the Houston Texans, okay? And they're both 3-1 teams. The thing is that with Stephon Diggs feels a lot like that when you look at breakups and divorces, feels a lot like the one that is trying to prove that he's got it better than Buffalo. You know, you're showing off the sports car. If you're the woman, maybe you have yourself a very attractive boyfriend and you're trying to prove to the ex that like, hey, look at my hunkin' man. He's more of a man than you think. And in some of these instances, and this happens with both, or even if it's like the guy, he's got a smoking hot girlfriend, trying to really kind of dig the ex, you know. So to me, Stephon Diggs seems a lot like somebody that's chirping very loudly against the Buffalo Bills, whereas the Buffalo Bills feels a lot like an either or, man or woman, feels like the one that after the breakup and after the divorce, you're going to the gym. You're eating healthy. You're eating right. You're not stressing about the other person because you've got other focuses. Josh Allen is focusing on winning games, and he's focusing on beating the Kansas City Chiefs, okay, like everybody else. That's his main focus. And what the message the Buffalo Bills is trying to send Stephon Diggs is we don't need you. We don't need the drama. We don't need the show-offs. We don't need any of this. And in the end, a lot of people started to speculate the Buffalo Bills. They were selling your stocks. I was there. Okay, don't deny it. I was there. Many people were selling off their stocks on the Buffalo Bills. I did not. That's because I trust Josh Allen, and I trust that he will help to get the Buffalo Bills in a better situation, with or without Stephon Diggs. So to me, it feels a lot like the man or woman in this kind of relationship where you moved on from your ex, you're not clinged, you're not like you're burying your head in the sand and thinking, man, that was my one and only from there. I will never be able to do better. No, they closed it off, came to a mutual understanding. One's just chirping over and showing off, while the others back in the gym, eating healthy, focusing on important tasks, whether that's a job, a business, or, something like that. Or they're basically reshaping their images from mentally. Was this a better or was this a bad situation? And if it was a bad situation, you're moving on, you're focusing on yourself, you're healing yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. And then eventually somebody walks on by and says, I love you for you. They're not looking at how much did that diamond ring cost. They're not looking at, the fancy sports car, how many horsepower, or all that. They're not looking at oh my God, look at the physique. He's got a 12 6-pack, or my God, she's got an hourglass body. They're not looking at that. They're looking at if you've been damaged, it's okay. Put your arms around them. Make them feel loved. Make them feel wanted. Make them feel secure. And the Buffalo Bills are in a situation where they are sending that message to Stephon Diggs of, we did not need you. We're good here. Because Josh Allen, we trust him. Okay? And they got rid of a lot of old, existing, hurtful contracts. Guys that were very much injury prone. They did that. And the defense got younger. A lot of teams have been doing this. The Bucs are doing this. The Chargers got rid of a lot of other old existing contracts, but that was even up on offense. They still kept the same guys up on defense, but then there's also new added pieces that they got. 1-year prove-it contracts. So I think, to me, this is going to be an interesting game. I think Josh Allen's here to prove a point. Stephon Diggs feels a lot like the one that's kind of chirping and barking and, showing off. But I just think the Buffalo Bills, and again, my prime predictions are right here around the corner. I think it's going to honestly be that kind of game. One is going to have a much more solidified and valid response than the other. That's just the way that it works. So, all right. So I figured I would show my top 10, and I have at least a special theme up on it because I love postseason baseball. I can't get enough of it. So my top 10 MLB teams, because now the wild card series is done. We're now in the division series. I have 2 losers in this, but they're not practically losers. They're more of they lost, but look at the situation they have ahead. That's the way that I've broken down, ranks 10 and 9. Is there's 2 losers in this that I really, really like, that I think have a brighter future ahead of them. And then the rest of them is where I honestly rank the rest of them. So, all right, so let's do this.
Number 10.
All right, so my number 10 team here. So this is going to be interesting. So number 10, I've got the Baltimore Orioles. And the reason I put the Baltimore Orioles in this position is because I love their young roster. Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, Cedric Mullins. Now, they may end up losing maybe potentially an Anthony Santander, but they acquired Corbin Burns. They have a very good pitching staff. It was unfortunate that they lost this series against the Kansas City Royals. But I have a lot of faith in this team's build. I think they'll be fine in this area, but I do believe the Orioles will be back. They're hungry. It's a young team. They feel a lot to me like they're the baseball version of the Green Bay Packers right now, because the Packers, when they made the playoffs, were a very young team. Now, the difference was the Packers moved on, the Orioles did not. But I love their young pieces. I think they're going to build into something special. So I cannot wait for it.
Number 9.
Number 9 team, and I was very impressed with them, was the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, here's what I will tell you about the Brewers. The Brewers have a very bright future. I don't think many people understand and realize this, is that the Brewers, Jackson Chourio literally was playing like, they were playing cat and mouse here. And Chourio was able to get the Brewers back into the game, tie the series up. So they've got a lot of promise and fight with them. Now, the pitching staff is very interesting, but I think the Brewers could be a very sneaky type of team come the off season. And I do believe that they will be in the best prime position to where they could come back in this one next year. I'll take them at number 9.
Number 8.
Here is where things get real interesting. So the number 8 team, I put the New York Mets. For respective reasons, because I do feel like the New York Mets in some of this is because they needed to get this lineup going. Pete Alonso with that 3-run bomb, man, was that exciting to watch. Francisco Lindor, one of their key pieces. He has to be a leader in that locker room. But I do like some of their lineups. And the other thing is, Kodai Senga, he's starting tomorrow. And that's going to be one that's going to be fun to watch for the Mets. And against the Phillies, against a division rival, that's one where I think the Mets, they are truthfully going to be tested in this situation. But I like with what they've done. They've showed some fight in them. I will put them at number 8.
Number 7.
The number 17 team here, and they are very scrappy, but I'm putting the Detroit Tigers here. I mean, how can you not love how scrappy they were? They literally swept the Houston Astros. For the first time since 2016, the Astros will not be going to the ALCS. And this was a 7-year stretch. The Tigers, and let me tell you something. I have a very good friend of mine that I would love to bring up onto the show at some point, and I wish could be a part of this roster. He's on the Detroit Tigers organization in their minor league system. The Tigers with Tariq Skubal, who had a pitcher's triple crown, was unbelievable. Since he got called back up, Spencer Torkelson has been on a tear. They got Riley Green. They got a lot of young, scrappy kids. And you know what's funny about this is that their manager, A.J. Hinch, who got payback against his former organization, boy, was he something else as a manager. I love what the Tigers have done. I think this will be interesting. And I was talking about this a while back with a fellow Tigers insider. I'm impressed. I think this team's got a lot of fight in them. I'll put them there up at 7, but I am sitting back and watching the show here with them.
Number 6.
The number 6 team that I think has also been scrappy and has also been in a different kind of world of their own is the Kansas City Royals. But I love Bobby Witt Jr. By the way, Salvador Perez now has been a part of 2 postseason teams. The team that got to the World Series lost, but the team that then won the World Series the year after, and now he's a part of a very young team that I think is also another one that's scrappy. Now, against the New York Yankees, that's not an easy matchup to go against. You're going to be going against one of the top dollar organizations that Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and multiple others, while the Yankees have home field advantage in the American League. That's not easy. But the Kansas City Royals are, in fact, a pretty scrappy team. They'll make things very interesting. I like with what they've done thus far, and they've been riding this momentum train for quite a while. I'll put them there at 6.
Number 5.
And the number 5 team here, and I put him here respectfully, is the Philadelphia Phillies because, let's be honest here, the last month and a half, those bats got cold. And that kind of worries me. So I think for the Philadelphia Phillies, they got to get this lineup going. They haven't been able to hit well now for the last couple series, and especially when you had an NL East race for the postseason between the Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies. Phillies were cold. And then it had the other 2 teams having to play catch-up. So the Phillies have the New York Mets, and the Mets are going to try to do something that I don't know has ever been done, but against a division rival matchup. This is the first time we are seeing this, by the way. Very first time. So I think in an atmosphere in the division series, It's going to be an interesting one, but I think I'm going to like watching it. I'll put them there at 5. Number 4 team that I really have loved what they've done with their roster build is the San Diego Padres. Now, Joe Musgrove is in fact out of the division series with an injury, but however, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Luis Arraez, and Jackson Merrill, the rookie, this Padres team is looking pretty scrappy themselves too. But I think it'll be interesting to watch them against the Dodgers, who we know are the top, they're the best team right now in baseball. And I think the Padres, they're not going to be the kind of team that you want to sleep on. So I'll put them at 4, but keep your eyes out on them because this division series against the Dodgers is going to be something that is going to be an absolute movie premiere. So I'll put them there at 4.
Number 3.
I can never figure this organization out, but yet for some reason they're always playing so good. The Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians have a very good bullpen with Emmanuel Clase and several other arms I like, even with a couple of starters I like. But Jose Ramirez and both the Naylor brothers, Josh and Bo Naylor, and these guys are swinging. And not to mention, they've got some guys that get on base and they also score runs, which is very important to them. They play very good quality baseball than most people do. You know what's funny? They kind of remind me in this spot almost like what I would see with the Kansas City Royals in like 2015. Because this was a team that was very dominant in the AL Central. And now you have them and the Tigers and the Royals in this position is insanity. So I think to me, the Cleveland Guardians, now they are facing off against the Detroit Tigers, another division rival matchup, but that's going to be really, really something to watch. I'll put them there at 3, but the Guardians, I can never figure them out, but they're so good though.
Number 2.
Number 2 is one of the most expensive franchises in Major League Baseball, and it's the New York Yankees. My thing with the Yankees, Aaron Judge has been on a tear. They're starting to figure themselves out at this point. So now they've got their matchup against the Kansas City Royals. I'm not going to take this as a cakewalk because the Royals have been playing pretty scrappy. But this is an opponent that I am excited to watch. And this series itself, because you've got home field advantage, in the Yankee Stadium with that atmosphere, watching the Yankees in the postseason. I mean, right now, here's the thing. They've got no Astros in this postseason now for the remainder. This is paving the way potentially for a Yankees type of World Series atmosphere. I don't know if it's going to happen, if it's honestly possible, but don't count them out with the probabilities. And then here's the number 1 team.
Number 1.
I have any other teams that can honestly end up, matching up well with Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman. Anybody? This will be the first time ever Shohei Ohtani, we finally get a chance to watch the unicorn play. I mean, wow. The fact that we have the Dodgers now in the postseason once again, but this time Shohei Ohtani. This is the moment that you spent every penny on. This is the moment. And so I think for the Dodgers against the Padres, that's not going to be an easy series at all, but it is certainly going to be one. I'm going to have to double, if not triple up my popcorn. My wife's a Dodger fan, and I watch the Dodgers up front in person, and especially with Shohei Ohtani out here in Colorado. But this is a team that I think is destined for anything. So keep your eyes out on Shohei Ohtani. But this is it. This is my top 10 from here. Again, I have very good hopes for the Baltimore Orioles and for the Milwaukee Brewers. But, the Mets, they fought through, and the Detroit Tigers played spoiler and swept the Astros. The Kansas City Royals really gave it to the Baltimore Orioles. And then the Phillies are cold. The Padres are hot. The Guardians I can never figure out. And then you've got the Yankees Dodgers. So this postseason's going to be fun. But I'm going to put this music up real quick because I do love this kind of music. But The postseason is here, folks. Mets against the Phillies. Tigers against the Guardians. The Padres against the Dodgers, and the Kansas City Royals against the New York Yankees. The division series is here, and you don't want to miss it. We got it all covered here for you on Sports Wave Network. Check in with your local live streams for all these games during the postseason. Boy, I loved it. Anybody want to give a thumbs up on that? I loved the promo. Absolutely love the promo. Well, it is that time of year again. Week 5, we just got through postseason baseball with my top 10. Now here we go with Jake's Prime Predictions, and it is cooking. Here we go.
Let's turn it up. It's Jake's Prime Predictions.
All right, so the first game I got in London, England, is between the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, most people, I think, are going with the opposite way, but I am trusting the Minnesota Vikings here at -1.5. Listen, this team is for real. Now, we know that this is an interesting week for them because they're going overseas into London at a different time at 9:30 a.m. or at 8:30 a.m. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit difficult. But, however, the Minnesota Vikings, I love their offense. With Sam Darnold, yet again another performance with 3 touchdowns or more and barely turning the ball over. This is without Justin Jefferson as a receiver. He worked this with Jordan Addison and multiple others. So Sam Darnold looks like the real deal. Now, the problem I have with the New York Jets, this offense feels so tacky. I don't like it. And one of those reasons is it's just like, I don't know what it is. I can never figure this out. But to me personally, I think that the Vikings, I love with what Brian Flores has done on their defense. So the 1.5 doesn't seem so bad to me. I'll take the Vikings here in this position, and I will take them to win in London in the international game 24-20. Now, not a lot of people are sold on the Chicago Bears, but I think in this particular matchup at home with Andy Dalton and the Carolina Panthers coming into town, I love the Chicago Bears' defense because here's the difference. The Carolina Panthers, we know we had Bryce Young that was out there at quarterback, and the Raiders failed to do the one thing that they should have, and that was apply pressure to Andy Dalton. They could not do that. So I believe that the Chicago Bears, with as good as this defense is, now, Caleb Williams and company had a serious talk with Shane Waldron. That news headliner was out there. They said they are tired of backyard football. They could not do exactly this kind of scheme. They got to stick to the script. You got to start with the scripted play first. And when you do that, then the rest will flourish. Caleb Williams, I'm hoping for at least a rebound-type game. Now, he did throw for a lot of yards, so that's a good sign. I think with the Bears at home, feels a lot to me like they may clean up and fix some things. So I'll take the Chicago Bears at home against the Carolina Panthers to win 27-21. So many people are going with the Baltimore Ravens just because of the performance that they gave out last week against the Buffalo Bills. Well, I don't think this is going to be something that's that easy, especially against a division rival. And I hate betting on AFC North division rivals because it's just unpredictable. But I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals at +1. Listen, I know their defense doesn't quite look at all really good. And a lot of this has to be that they have to trust Joe Burrow to win in shootouts. That's not how you do things around here. But I do love the fact that the offense hasn't quite missed a step with Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase, he's definitely shown up. Jermaine Burton and multiple others on this offense are starting to click. They're pissed right now. And Joe Burrow had a serious conversation with the coordinators and with the head coach because enough's enough. You can't be playing like this. So I think the Bengals are going to be coming in with a statement game against the Baltimore Ravens, and in a very wonky betting line at +1, give it to me, 24-23, Cincinnati wins this one up at home. This is a statement game towards Stephon Diggs and company. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills at +1. Have you seen with how the offense has flourished and how the offense has been very productive in the last 4 weeks? This Buffalo Bills team looks for real. Now listen, this defense is young. I get it. They're going to figure some things out. But Josh Allen is putting everything on the line. And this is the kind of statement like I was talking about earlier towards Stephon Diggs. They didn't truthfully need him. If this was going to be one of those scenarios and situations where you're going to hear him chirp. I think the Bills get their money's worth against the Houston Texans. I will take them to win here on the road. And this is going to be this is my favorite matchup of the week. I will take the Bills to win, send a message to Stephon Diggs, and win this game 28-27. Now, I particularly have this as a stay-away game, which I really don't like, but I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars at -3. My problem with the Indianapolis Colts is that I know they have Joe Flacco, but things have not worked from the start of the season. That's a problem to me. Now, I know they have Joe Flacco as their veteran quarterback right now, as Anthony Richardson is going through injury and has dealt with inconsistency. But the Jags right now need to figure this out. I don't like this one at all, but my gut feeling does tell me in a South matchup like this, I just feel like with Jacksonville, they got to get something going from here. But I did like with how some of their offensive pieces, how they've been working. It's slow build. But I think this is kind of the part where, again, if they lose this, then I'll feel very regretful about this ticket. But I think if they win, then my guess is it's because somebody had to light up a fire, and you know what? And I think that's initially with what may happen with the Jacks. I'll take them to win here 24-20 against the Colts, because this is just one of those games. It feels like a trap and a stay away from me, but I'll take this one here. So this is an even line. They haven't really figured out exactly who would be the favorite or the dog, but I'm going to take the Patriots here at home. The Dolphins are starting Tyler Huntley, and my only problem with this is this game's going to look ugly. I don't like this one bit, but what my gut feeling tells me is that Miami is going into New England without Tua, and you've got their offensive pieces right now that things have not looked very fluent. Skylar Thompson gets hurt. Now you have Tyler Huntley in this, and especially against the New England pass rush, where they really want to end up showing up against their division rival. They couldn't do that against the Jets, but they have an opportunity to steal one away against the Dolphins. I feel very confident in this kind of matchup because the Dolphins are without their star quarterback, but I'll take the Patriots here to win this game. It's going to look ugly for the most part, but I'll take them to win 23-17. I am loving what Jaden Daniels has looked now in the past few weeks. Good God. The Washington Commanders at -3, give me that ticket there. Jaden Daniels in this offense looks so fluent. Cliff Kingsbury gets his revenge against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the thing that's interesting to me is that defensively, they haven't looked as great. But that doesn't shy away from the fact that their offense can fire and fire on all cylinders and answer back. Now, you're dealing with a Cleveland Browns team that looks very disorganized, that doesn't quite look the same with Deshaun Watson. And you think about it, the Colts have Joe Flacco. Can you notice the difference in fluidity there? I don't think that the Browns have enough of that fluidity. Now, we know Nick Chubb and company may be coming back, but with what I've seen, with the accuracy, the completion percentage, and the control and poise in the pocket, Jaden Daniels looks like the real thing. He's definitely my candidate to potentially win Rookie of the Year. I'll take the Commanders 28-23. So I just have a bit of a gut feeling from here up on this one. I don't particularly like it as much, but I'm going to take the Raiders on the road here in Denver. Now, for people that do not know, the Raiders right now currently in the last few matchups against the Denver Broncos, they have a winning record against them. And this is with multiple other quarterbacks. You name it. But the Raiders right now, they're dealing with this stuff with Devontae Adams, who clearly is not happy, and he's dealing with a hamstring issue, and Zamir White is out. So that means Alexander Madison's going to get the snaps. But the difference of this is the Raiders, we know for a fact, are trying to play. They're trying to play tough, trying to play tough football. Both these teams are 2-2, with the Chargers on a bye week at 2-2. They want to end up getting into a momentum to get them into the second place spot behind Kansas City. So this is a perfect opportunity for both these teams. But I feel like the Raiders, with all this stuff going on, they're going to play with some heat. They're going to get fired up. And I feel like with Max Crosby and company, they're going to make something happen. I will take the Raiders here on the road because Bo Nix won a game with 60 yards passing. Okay? There is some of those things that they've got to cook. And I like Sean Payton, and I like with what the development is on that defense. I feel like this could be a low-scoring game, but I'm going to be reasonable. I'll take the Raiders +3, 24-21. I didn't like this bet line at all when going into this because it feels to me like there's nothing there for the Cardinals, no life, nothing for them to play out at 7.5. These games have just been atrocious. I'm taking the Cardinals +7.5. These games have worked out for me. Okay, and these are the ones that you know are going to cover because at least I have the half a point. So that saves me a little bit more up on this one. Now, against the 49ers, with Brock Purdy, I love his football IQ. I really, really do. But they're working with Jawan Jennings. Supposedly, Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and company should be coming back a bit of this one. But they're without, yet again, Christian McCaffrey, who's still working up on that injury. And I think the 49ers, defensively for the Niners, has been kind of mad. Something does not seem to be working right up on here. That's why I don't like that 7.5, is because you're telling me with what I've seen right now in the past few weeks with the San Francisco 49ers, I'll still take them to win. I just don't like the bet line at 7.5. That just feels like it's just too killer. It's too rich. So I'll take the Niners to win still. But I love the points on the Cardinals at 7.5. I will take them to cover with the Niners to win 27-23. All right, so Jordan Love is healthy, and boy, did I love that matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. They'll both be seeing each other again later on in the year. But I'll take the Packers at -3 on the road against the Rams. My deal with the Green Bay Packers is that the Packers right now, they've had a multitude of things that did not go right, but that doesn't stop them from putting points on the board. Now, defensively, there were some of those miscues. I think they're going to try to fix that up against this Rams team that's just been dismantled with injuries right now. But the Rams are a kind of team that, moving forward, Matt Stafford's going to do whatever it takes to make this team cook. Now, I think, honestly, when it comes to the Packers, they've got good enough defensive assets where they could be in some of these games, and they'll fight. So I will take them to win this game and cover with the points at -3. Packers win on the road 27-21. All right, people don't like Seattle for whatever reason. I don't understand. But after what I saw from the Seahawks this past week against the Detroit Lions, now, yeah, they got their asses handed to. So usually this is what happens. When teams get undressed and they get humiliated the last week, they often come back with a vengeance. And against the New York Giants, who are missing Malik Neighbors, and that secondary is suspect. But I love their defensive front. That may be the only thing that could be causing problems. But other than that, has anybody even paid attention to Jackson Smith-Njigba? The guy can play. And at the same time, he's solidifying himself as a number 2. I know DK Metcalf is going to do all this other ridiculous stuff. But Geno Smith is smart enough. He's going to distribute the football any way that he can. Get that run game of Kenneth Walker running. And I think the Seahawks, they're going to rebound back. They're comfortable at home. So that's another plus. So I think the Seahawks are going to be comfortable here with that 7-point favorite. I'll take them to beat the Giants here at home 27-17. The good old classic Sunday night football game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So as of right now, the Steelers have been on the roll. Now last week, they suffered their loss, but I think they might have learned a bit from that. I'll take them here at home -3. The difference of this is that the Dallas Cowboys right now are without DeMarcus Lawrence. They're without at least some of their key pieces. And from the last couple of weeks, they're not a team that really, surprises me. I mean, they got absolutely boat raced against the New Orleans Saints at home. They barely came in with a win against the Giants on Thursday night on a short week. I'm not intimidated by this Dallas offense right now that is trying to figure a lot of things out, because right now it's CeeDee Lamb and just whomever receivers we got. The run game looks suspect, and a Pittsburgh defense that has been giving up less than about 70 yards on the ground. They've been shutting down the run game. So what does that mean? Another trap for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I will take the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game and win this one at home with a tougher atmosphere. I just don't think Dallas is going to be ready for this one. I'll take them to win 27-20. So even though I know the Kansas City Chiefs at home in Arrowhead on a Monday Night Football game, right now without Rashee Rice, this offense looks completely different. Now that means that guys like Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy and a multitude of others, they've got to now start to step up. They got to start to play. And so to me, once again, the underdog lines against the Kansas City Chiefs have been so damn good. I'm telling you, it's absolutely insane and a bit absurd that it's literally looking like this. But I'm telling you right now, this Chiefs team is not the same kind of Chiefs team that we are used to seeing. Too many close games. And they've been bailed out on all of them. I mean, last week against the Chargers, it was a bloodbath. And both defenses were showing up. So to me, I'm going to take the Saints points at +5.5, because I do feel like the Saints, to some degree, they need something. They need a win from here. They got to get themselves back on track. And so hopefully this is one, because of a lot of close games they've been playing, the Chiefs do not look like that kind of overpowering team, but they're winning situationally. I'll take the Chiefs to win, but that +5.5, a lot of those underdog games have been looking so good for me with the points. Give me Kansas City to win, but the Saints to cover 5.5 at a 24-23 final score. And that is that for my prime predictions. So I've got the Vikings -1.5. I've already had the Falcons winning that game. Took the points up on that one, and I won that. I got the Vikings, Bears favorites, Bengals, Bills underdogs, Jags favorites, and even bet line with the Patriots, a favorite to the Commanders, underdogs for the Raiders and Cardinals, favorite Packers and Seahawks, and the Steelers, and then an underdog Saints 5.5. That's what the bet lines are telling me. So, and they've been pretty good. It's been kind of roughed up, though, for at least for the fans when they go and bet this thing. It's been hard. So I will tell you, it's interesting. But I do feel like it is something worth noting. And it is one of those, I think, for many people, like the bet lines, and I know Vegas, they have a way of trying to manipulate this. Okay? They really, really do. It's a kind of thing that you hope in some of these areas, that you hope changes up. But I'll tell you, it's this is the kind of stuff I don't get fooled by very easily. I have to do my homework and my research, offensively, defensively, to even see what these teams have looked like now in the past few weeks. So, again, keep your eyes on it. Don't take your eyes away from what could be, because a lot of those games, they are not as very favorable as you think that they are. There are some of them. I've got some favorites. But that is going to be very interesting. So, all right. That's going to do it here for me on the show. This week has been really, really good. Loved it. Prime prediction picks from our good partners at BetUS. When you deposit $50 or more to your betting deposit, 125% bonuses, up to $2,000 for your first 3 deposits. Matching it up. It's the best match right now in the sports book nation. It's just so good. BetUS, where the game begins. Get yourself into the contest for football and for baseball postseason. You don't want to miss it. And also by SeatGeek. If you are going into the big game in the postseason, or you're going into your big game in the NFL, trust SeatGeek to find the best seat at the most affordable price when prices are outrageous. SeatGeek won't do that to you. SeatGeek is too good to find you the best affordable price. And all just so you get the best experience, whether it is going to the big game, or it's going to your favorite artists at your favorite concert venue, or you're going to your favorite show or comedies, whatever it is. SeatGeek has you covered in all of that by using promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket. With yours truly, signing off here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. We will see you guys next week for more of what we got in store on the show. Take care, you guys. We may have a new look, so stay tuned for that. Take care, everyone.